Hi, this is the Wave QTS from Patrik, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how I set it up. I've had this board for about 6 months now, and in that time I've used it in a huge range of conditions, everything from big wave down the line all the way through to like smack on shore pozo and pretty much everything in between. I've been to Klitmuller with it, Fuerteventura with it, and of course here in Gran Canaria. So I really got to try it in a huge range of conditions, and it's incredibly versatile. One of the things I loved about it straight away from the minute I stood on it was just that it planes really, really early, and it's got really good speed. It just and the way that it goes through the water is just really, really comfortable. So straight away from day one, I just felt really, really comfortable on it. And that means that then when you're, for example, in super windy pozo, how it tracks through the water and planes is just really, really comfortable. And then the same, when you're dropping down a big wave, it just feels really, really comfortable. And at the same time, it turns great. It's got it sits a little bit low in the water, so it really holds well. So once you kind of get confidence in it, you realize that you can just really drop down a wave, put full power into a bottom turn and just know that it's going to grip. And then when you get to the top, again, you can just push as hard as you can and know that it's going to hold that turn really, really well. Yeah, that's one of the feelings I really, really liked about this board from day one. And the more I've used it, the more I've appreciated that kind of that grip and how it holds so well in the wave. So starting with the fin setup, I actually really like the stock fins. It's a 15.5 S-Wave back fin and a 9cm P-Wave front fin. And I think that balance is really nice to give a nice free feeling, but at the same time, lots of grip, lots of drive, and great turning. I have to thank Simon Thule because I actually inherited the board from him, and he had the fin position marked. I put it in there and it's worked great. I've since tried different settings, but come back to his magic settings. And that is with the front fin almost right to the front and the back fin just back from the middle. If you want to get the ruler out, they're at 41 and 30 cm in the leading edge, and it's about 2 fingers between the back edge of the front fin and the front edge of the back fin. If you want to change the feeling of the board, one of the things you can do is switch out the fins. So this, for example, this is the P-Wave 15.5. It's the same size, but you can see that compared with this stock fin, it's way more upright. And what that'll do, it'll make it a bit faster, it'll give you better upwind ability, and it'll also really loosen up the board. So particularly if you're kind of in small waves, this fin will give you a bit more of a sort of skatey feel, more of a slippy slidey for doing tackers and stuff like that. So that's a really good option. The other thing you can do, all the boards come with 5 boxes, so you can easily have it as a thruster. So I recommend something like this S-Wave 10 as a front fin and this S-Wave 18 as a back fin. And one of the ways I like to see it, to think about it, is if you're kind of looking for control or looking for speed through turns. So if you're looking for control, which could be either big wave down the line or even super high wind sailing, for example in pozo, then the quad setup will kind of sit the board a bit more in the water. If you're kind of looking for drive, maybe you got some sort of bigger, slower waves onshore, then often a thruster setup will give you a little bit more drive through the turns. It'll also give you better kind of tracking for jumping and stuff. So yeah, I highly recommend that. I haven't tested it myself, but you can also use this as a twin fin. And what that'll do is just loosen the board up even more. So if you're in really junky conditions and you really want that kind of loose, skatey, slidey feel, a twin fin will give you that. So moving on to the foot straps. So the back foot strap, I have the back screws, one from the back, and I have the front screws all the way at the back. And what that does is it just pinches the strap together and holds the foot a little bit better. You can see that the position of the fins are pretty much right underneath the foot strap, so that gives you excellent control. The front foot strap is really personal. My preference, I generally like it slightly narrower stance, so I actually have my foot strap one from the front or sometimes even 2 from the front. If I was going somewhere like Maui, I would probably move it all the way to the front to get the maximum control over the board and really be able to have control over the front of the rail. But as I'm generally sailing in kind of sort of smaller, more average conditions, I have it a little bit further back. It helps with planing, and it helps a little bit more with jumping as well. That's a very personal thing, like, so I know that a lot of our team riders, they'll have it right at the front in all conditions. So you just need to find what works for you. Generally, I will say, recommend that you leave the back foot strap where it is and then adjust the front strap according to your stance. Moving on to the mast foot, again, I have to thank Simon Toule because I got the board from him, he had it marked, I put it there and it worked great. I've moved it around a bit, come back to that position and it's great. I'd say just back from middle is a really, really good sweet spot. The only time I change it is if I'm sailing in some like really cross-off conditions where you've got a lot of speed down the line and you can just really want to like drive up to get vertical. And if it's like that, I'll maybe move it back 1 cm and that'll just free it up a bit and allow me to get a little bit more vertical in the turns. The Wave QTS is available in a whole range of sizes from big to small, but my 3 boards are the 82, 87 and 94. However, to be honest, the 87 is pretty much the board I use all the time. I weigh about 84 kilos, so this is kind of like 3 litres over my weight. And I think that's like a really, really good size for pretty much everything. So if it's like really crazy windy in Poso, then I'll definitely use the 82. And if it's really, really light float and ride, I'll go on the big board. However, for 90% of the time, this 87 is just magic. It floats me really, really well, and it stays controllable. So, I mean, I've actually used this with a 3.7 in down the line, and I've used it with a 5.3 in float and ride. And it pretty much, if I had to choose one board, it would without a doubt be this one. So I strongly recommend kind of like looking for the size of board that's sort of like in that kind of like 3, 4, 5 litres over your weight, and that'll be a really good all-round board for everything. I'm John Skye, this is the Wave QTS. If you want to know more information, check out the Patrik International website, where you can find out all the specs, more information about the board, including some top tips from the rest of our team. See you on the water.